Well, welcome to Father and Son, but Son's gone interstate, so he's not here today. I don't know what he's up to. I'll just start off with BHP's big decision to not only defer but probably cancel the huge development, 38 billion they were going to spend in South Australia developing the copper uranium mine gold. Very disappointing. It's come about because of the shortage of labour, which has put labour costs up. The costs of moving the overburden have gone up dramatically. So the cost structure to put mines into place has probably more than doubled in the last 4 years. And combined with the low resource prices, and they have dropped dramatically, iron ore is down to $118.50, and it hit a peak about a year ago of $250 a tonne. Coal has slipped, particularly coking and steaming coal, both down. The Chinese have built up stocks and they're now putting pressure on the suppliers, which is the reverse of what happened a couple of years ago, where they desperately needed iron ore. BHP and Rio kept putting the price up, and that's what got up to $250. So I think the Chinese are teaching a bit of a lesson to the big resource companies, whether it be coal or iron ore, and obviously it's had a marked effect. This will have a big impact on South Australia because this was the biggest, potentially the biggest mine in the world and the biggest project. Thousands of people will not get jobs as a result of this. So very disappointing. Obviously BHP have put it on the back burner. When prices recover, as they will, you'll see this thing will come back on. The problem BHP faces is that the approvals they got actually expire at the end of December, but I don't think it'll make any difference. I'm certain any South Australian government will reignite those approvals to let them go forward. Politics, well, the Australians certainly getting stuck into the Prime Minister. It's quite amazing that she wasn't sacked, she resigned as a partner of that wonderful law firm, Slater and Gordon, but it is quite illuminating to me, and it shows you she wasn't a very smart lawyer. Now the polls have gone up a bit for the Labor Party. I see the Australian was saying it's because people aren't quite as concerned about the carbon tax. I think that's nonsense. The reason her polls have gone up a little bit is because they've accepted the offshore processing, and Australians want to see the number of these refugees coming in drop. And I think she got a bit of mileage out of that, using the independent group led by the ex-military head. It was very smart politics, and she accepted it. She couldn't have got that accepted by her own party, although it was clearly it was the Rudd government that threw out what Howard had done to stop the refugees coming. Probably the most important thing going on now is the football. We've only got 2 rounds to go. There are 5 teams competing for the top 4 and 5 teams competing for the bottom 4. And it's very, very even. This could be a year where a team outside the top 4, in the bottom 4, can make it into the grand final and win the flag. It hasn't happened since Adelaide did it, I think, in the early 90s. But there are 3 very important games. St Kilda, the Swans are at home to Hawthorn this weekend. Played at the Sydney Cricket Ground, which gives the Swans a big advantage. Buddy Franklin will be back for the Hawks. I think the Hawks are the best team in it. And I think they'll overcome the grit and determination and the close-down pressure from the Swans, but it will be a great game. The second one is over in Perth, where West Coast play Collingwood. Now, if West Coast beat Collingwood, they'll put them out of the 8. They have to win the last game, but this is the position of 4th and 5th. Whoever wins this game is likely to lock down that position. But it's not certain because West Coast has got another big game next week. And finally, the most important game for me as a Carlton supporter is the North Melbourne versus Freo game, which is played here at Etihad Stadium in Melbourne. If North Melbourne win, Carlton will make the 8. because I'm certain Carlton will win at the Gold Coast and they'll have a huge incentive to beat the Saints in the last round. So it is going to be a very exciting weekend of football. The horse racing's starting to liven up as well, and with a lot of horses coming from overseas. This will be the biggest influx of horses out of Europe ever to contest the Melbourne Cup. But they're not only coming now for the Melbourne Cup, they're coming for the Cox Plate and the Caulfield Cup. I'll talk more about that next week. All right, I hope you have a good weekend. The weather's starting to improve, the days are getting longer, and it won't be long before we'll be in the spring carnival, the footy will be over, and we'll be into the Test cricket against South Africa. See you next week.